The waitress looked me up and down, then leaned close and whispered, "Are you sure you can afford this section?" I felt the entire restaurant go silent. And that's when I realized, this wasn't about a table. My name is Imani Brooks. I'm a 34-year-old corporate attorney in downtown Chicago. Born and raised on the South Side. First in my family to graduate college. First to make six figures. That night, I wasn't thinking about work. I was celebrating. I had just closed the biggest case of my career. A discrimination lawsuit against a logistics company that thought they could silence black employees with NDAs and threats. We won. And my mentor, a retired judge who believed in me before anyone else did, always told me, "Celebrate your victories loudly. The world already tries to shrink them." So I made a reservation at one of the most upscale restaurants in the city. White tablecloths. Crystal chandeliers. A place where deals are made over $400 steaks. I wore a deep emerald dress, simple gold jewelry, natural curls framing my face. I walked in confident. I walked in proud. But the way the hostess looked at me, I knew something was coming. "Reservation name?" she asked without smiling. "Brooks. Imani Brooks." Her eyes flicked to the computer screen. Then back to me. Then down to my purse. She said slowly. "That's our executive dining section." I smiled politely. "Yes. That's why I reserved it." She hesitated, just long enough for it to sting. "Let me check something." She disappeared. I stood there alone while couples who walked in after me were seated immediately. White couples. Businessmen in suits. A young white woman in jeans and sneakers. All seated before me. 5 minutes passed. 10. Finally, she returned. "We actually require a credit card authorization for that section." I blinked. "I already paid the deposit." "Yes, but we just need to ensure you're aware of the pricing." There it was. Not subtle anymore. Not even careful. Just wrapped in politeness. I felt heat rise in my chest. "I'm aware," I said calmly. She gave a tight smile. "Well, follow me." As she walked me across the restaurant, I felt eyes on me. The kind of looks that measure you. The kind that wonder how you got here. She led me, not to the executive section, but to a small table near the kitchen doors. I stopped walking. I reserved executive dining. She tilted her head slightly. "Oh. This is actually more comfortable." Comfortable. The lie wasn't even creative. "I'd like the table I reserved." Her voice lowered. "That section is typically for our regular clients." Regular. As if I didn't belong to the category of client. That's when a man at the bar snickered. Loud enough for me to hear. "They're getting bold these days," he muttered. Bold. Like my presence was an act of rebellion. My stomach twisted. And for a second, just a second, I considered walking out. Because sometimes, dignity feels like leaving. But something in me stayed. Before I could respond, the restaurant manager appeared. Tall. Polished. Silver hair. "Is there a problem here?" The hostess answered quickly. "She seems confused about the seating arrangement." Confused. I looked directly at him. "My name is Imani Brooks. I reserved executive dining 2 weeks ago. I paid the deposit. I received confirmation." He scanned me. "Not my reservation." Me. And then he said it. "Well, Ms. Brooks, this area maintains a certain atmosphere." Atmosphere. I felt every eye on me now. The snickering man turned in his stool to watch. The manager continued. "We just want to ensure our guests feel comfortable." Guests. Plural. As if I wasn't one. I felt that familiar pressure, the one black women know too well. The pressure to stay calm. To not be angry. To not confirm their stereotype. But my voice didn't shake. "I am a guest. And I'd like the table I paid for." He sighed. Dramatic. Dismissive. Then something unexpected happened. A woman stood up from the executive section. Mid-40s. Sharp suit. Confident posture. She walked toward us slowly. "I couldn't help overhearing," she said. She turned to the manager. "Are you seriously questioning her reservation?" He stiffened. "Ma'am, this is a private matter." "No," she said firmly. "It's a public one." She looked at me, and her eyes widened. "Wait. I know you." My heart skipped. "You represented the plaintiffs in the Fulton Logistics case, didn't you?" The room went quiet. "Yes," I said. She smiled, wide and genuine. "I'm Dr. Alicia Grant. My niece was one of those employees. You changed her life." And then she said something that shifted the entire room. "She finally feels safe at work because of you." The snickering man stopped laughing. The manager's posture shifted. The hostess went pale. Dr. Grant turned back to the manager. "You're questioning the presence of a woman who fights for justice in this city?" Silence. "She belongs anywhere she chooses to sit." Her voice carried. Other diners began whispering. Phones subtly lifted. The manager cleared his throat. "Of course, Ms. Brooks. There must have been a misunderstanding." Now it was a misunderstanding. Suddenly, my name mattered. Suddenly, I was Ms. Brooks. He personally escorted me to the executive section, pulled out my chair, apologized. But it wasn't about the apology. It was about the shift. The energy in the room had changed. Not because I raised my voice. Not because I made a scene. But because truth stepped into the light. As I sat down, Dr. Grant squeezed my shoulder. "Keep fighting," she whispered. And for the first time that night, I felt something other than anger. I felt pride. Not just in my career, but in standing there. In not shrinking. In not walking away. The same people who looked at me like I didn't belong now avoided my gaze. Because they realized something. You never know who you're underestimating. Dinner tasted different that night. Not because of the food, but because I understood something deeply. Racism doesn't always shout. Sometimes it smiles politely. Sometimes it whispers about atmosphere. Sometimes it hides behind comfort. But dignity? Dignity doesn't need permission. And that night, I didn't just celebrate a legal victory. I celebrated something bigger. The refusal to be invisible. The power of staying. The strength of being exactly who I am, in any room. Because here's the truth. When you walk into spaces they never imagined you in, you don't just sit down. You shift the atmosphere.
If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to the channel as your support truly helps us grow. We'd also love to hear from you, so leave a comment below and share your thoughts. We read every single comment. We are on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers, and every bit of support brings us one step closer. Thank you for being part of Black Diaries and supporting the journey.